Okay, so yeah, so Shan, so as you don't have any background on testing, so
Yeah,
let me explain what is testing. So can you explain? I mean, you have any idea what is testing? What we do there?
yeah, I
Any
have
basic knowledge?
some
Right.
knowledge is there.
Okay. Okay. So what is testing? So testing means we have to, so testing is the process of evaluating a system. Okay. So let me share. So you're just confirm if you're able to see my screen once. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, to make you comfortable, testing is not of a big task. You learn and you follow the process. Okay. So now
Okay.
let me explain what is yes testing. What is testing? Testing is the process of evaluating its components. That we find whether it satisfies the requirement or not. So let me explain you what this. So generally, so why we do testing is, so let's say we have a client, okay, and let's say the customer is a bank, so he has anyone he wants us to develop a banking project for him, banking application. Okay, so generally what we do, so they give us requirements. Okay, they will say, okay, the my web page should look like this. Okay, there should be a login button out there. So once he clicks that, you'll be able to see the username field, you should give the password field, and then the login. Okay. So as per if you take the example of login page testing, so what we do, so we have to test whether the application or UI that is built and what is displaying on the UI is according to the requirements given by the customer or not. Okay. In simple words, we execute the system in order to identify any gaps or errors are there. Okay. So it means like once you open the page, okay, you have to see whether okay, do we have a login button over there or not? Okay, login button is there. If I click that, whether I'm able to go to login page or not, and then username field is there or not, text box is there or not, and then password is there or not, and then there is a login button is there. So this is the requirement. So once what you do, so once you open the page, you see the login button, you click on it, okay, the page displays there. Okay, now we have to verify whether there is a username text box or not, whether password is there or not, and whether login button is there or not. If any of this is not there, okay, then it's a defect, right? So the customer wanted these fields: username, password, login button, on the UI page to log in. Okay. So if there is any deviation in this, let's say username field is not there, or uh, password field is not there, text box is not there, or login button is not there. Okay. So this is a defect. Okay. So because it's not conforming to the requirements. Okay. So that is what we call it as testing. So we have to ensure, we have to evaluate the system whether it is behaving intendedly or not, according to the requirement or not. Okay. So that is what we call as testing. So basically, if you take an example of uh, ATM, so ATM also it is also a software. So someone, I mean, so it is deployed into the ATM machine, so someone might have tested it. So what we do there, example, so once you go to the ATM machine, what you have to do, so you have to go and insert your card. Okay, once your card is inserted, so it will prompt you with a different message. It will ask you to enter the PIN number of it, right? So, and once you enter the PIN, it has to validate whether it is correct PIN or not. Okay, if it is not correct PIN, then throw an error saying, okay, password is incorrect. If it is correct PIN, then you have to evaluate it, and you have to be getting into the different menus like pass withdrawal, news, something like that. Okay, Okay, so let's say you wanted to withdraw the money. Okay, you click on withdraw money. Okay, so let's say your account balance is 2,000 rupees, but you have entered some amount as 3,000. So in this case, what it does, the system goes and verifies whether that the balance, the amount what you have entered is there in your account or not. If it is not there, it should throw an error. So let's say you have 2,000 in your account and you have entered 3,000. Instead of the machine throwing an error saying that insufficient funds, instead of that it gives money. Who is at loss? The bank is at loss, right? So the ATM machine is not working as intended there. So these kind of uh, requirements we have to validate, and this kind of testing we have to do. So the testing what I told, whether to enter the incorrect password or incorrect PIN, so we have to be throwing an error. And when you are entering the amount which is greater than your balance, then you have to throw an error. So this is called as negative testing. Okay, 2,000 rupees is there in your account, but you wanted to withdraw 500. So this is a valid case. So 500 is less than 2,000, so the system will give you. But in case when you enter 3,000, if it is giving you the money, then that's a defect. So we have to validate this kind of things. So why do these kind of defects occur? So generally, if you see, this application is also developed by a developer who is also a human being. A human being tend to make mistakes, right? So they do coding. Okay, so there might be some issues in that. He might not have understood the requirement clearly, or he made some coding mistake over there, which make the system fail. That is what testing is. So we have to validate this kind of thing. Okay, for example, this an ATM machine. Okay, so that's about that. So so what do we call? We have something called as defects, right? So when you entered 3,000 rupees and you got the amount as 3,000 rupees, you can withdraw 3,000 rupees when you have balance as 2,000. Okay, so it is not working as intended, right? It was supposed to throw an error, but it didn't throw an error. Instead of that, you got the money. It is a defect. There is a deviation from the path. So the system has to validate the balance, the amount entered by the user is less than the balance present in the account or not. Okay, so because there is a deviation, the check is missing here. Whether it is following the process or not is deviated. So that deviation we call it as defect. Okay, so any questions here? No, no, right?
No.
So you are free to ask any questions. You can interrupt me in between and you can ask the questions. Okay. Yeah. So why do we need testing? Because I told, so we have to check whether that it is according to the requirement or not. Okay, let's say, why do we do that testing and only in the development phase? Why not after everything is put into production? Because there is a cost involved to it. Okay, so let's say there is development team has developed a code. There is an apply bank application. You have to log in. You have to see that. So let's say during the requirement phase and design phase, when you are doing this and you do the testing and you evaluate the system whether it is as per the expected behavior or not, as per the requirement or not. Okay, so this is what we do. So let's say if we don't identify defects in the development phase, okay, what happens? So it goes into production and someone in future identifies, okay, there is some defect in this. The cost of fixing a defect in the production is very higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we do testing. So defects can rise in any of the SDLC flow. You know this SDLC flow, right? What is SDLC flow? Software development. Software development life cycle, right? So what we do in this? So first is we do analysis,
The business requirement. Yeah.
requirement gathering. Okay, so we do the design, how the project should be designed, and then we build it,
Testing.
and then we do the test. So this is how the SDLC works. So now coming to analysis part. So analysis is to do the analysis of the client's problem. So what is his problem? I mean, so what do he want us to give a solution on? So he wanted to build a banking application where the users can log and then do their work. Okay. So that's the analysis. So in this analysis, they will do, okay, what kind of, how many types of users will be there? Okay, for each user, what will be the different login, and what will be the different role he has. Okay, what are the different menus that we have to give? That all things will be doing that analysis, and then the requirement gathering. So we will say, okay, so as per the analysis, so we are thinking this is the requirement, and when we discuss the client, so this is what the requirement is, and then we get the sign off on the requirement. So in here also, in the requirement gathering also, something might go wrong. So the analysis person who did this analysis might did something wrong, and he has documented the requirement incorrectly. Okay, so here also the thing can go wrong. Okay, and the same thing in the design also. Whenever we are building a project and we are designing that, okay, so this is how my UI looks like, and this is how the database should be there. So what are the different services that are using it. So while doing the design also, there might be some defects. So that's why what we say, so testing needs to be started immediately after the requirement gather. So right, so what we do, so as a testers, when the requirement phase is going on, we have to review the requirement, and we have to pose questions to them. Okay, so with the testers, with the testers knowledge what we have, so we have to check, okay, this is how the requirement is it a correct requirement or not? You have to think of yourself. Okay, and then you have to identify that and then report it. Okay, this is it. So that's how we as a testers give value to the project. Okay, and the design phase and build phase, and after building also, so this building phase is nothing but the coding phase, where the developer will do the code for the program to work as intended. So there might be some defects. So the developer will not do the entire testing, he does just as the unit test. So there something might go wrong. Okay, so in that case also, so you the what if defects will arise, so that will be identified during our normal testing phase. Okay, so this is what is the software development life cycle. So the defects may arise in any part of this cycle. Okay, it may go wrong in analysis or requirement gathering phase or design phase. Okay, or building or test. So if we miss any scenario to test, and that goes to production, and then it comes back, so that's a kind of humiliation to the tester. Okay, saying that, okay, this is just in our testing part. So why did this, why is this scenario was not tested earlier during our development phase? Is it because of the requirement, or the input is wrong given by the user, or any another particular scenario? We have to verify. So, and the cost of defect is, after we put this everything into production, is generally high, because again we have to do all these things. When a defect arises in production, we have to see why it is behaving like that. So where did this go wrong? Whether it went wrong in requirement phase, or design phase, or building phase, or testing. Okay, so this is about testing on a high level. So this is on the UI. So this the testing what I explained is of the UI part. Okay, where you see you have the UI, and then you see as per the requirement it's there or not. So now coming to ETL testing. So ETL testing is also a part of testing. Okay, so the testing what I told here is of a normal manual testing of a. When you are coming to ETL testing, so in order to have that, so you have to understand the concepts of DWH. So DWH is nothing but data warehouse. Okay, so if you understand DW, then you'll understand what is ETL. ETL. What do we do in the ETL testing? So before we proceed to ETL testing concept, so you have any questions in this normal testing? Okay, this is just a demo of what we do in a high level of what we do in the testing. So this can be, there are a lot of different kinds of validations we do, the different evaluations. So what are the different roles? What is the test strategy? Okay, what is the software development life cycle? So everything will follow over testing part. Okay, so that can be taken care. So next comes to so when we are coming to ETL testing part, so first thing you have to understand is what is data warehouse. Okay, and then we go to ETL testing. What is ETL testing? What is the first we have to understand the DWH. What is DWH? Data warehousing concepts. Okay, and then what is ETL? So in ETL testing, so what are the concepts that we follow? ETL concepts, and then so ETL is nothing but it is dealing with large amount of data. So for that we should have some SQL knowledge. Have any SQL knowledge here?
Um, um,
You have some?
yeah.
Okay. So after that, so we'll have to see what is the ETL process, what we do, and what are the different tools that are used. Okay. Yeah. So let me explain. I mean, what is a data warehouse? So generally, a data warehouse is a repository. Okay. So repository. So the meaning itself says is a repository of data.
Database.
No, it's not database. So there is a difference between database and a data warehouse. Okay. So database and data warehouse are different. Data warehouse are different. So that's why we have this concept. So if everything is database, then we can't call a database and data warehouse. But we have two different concepts because database is different and data warehouse is different. So warehouse, the name itself is self-explanatory, saying that okay, it's a warehouse. Okay, so data warehouse is a repository of data. Okay, so for this to understand, first you have to understand OLTP and OLAP systems. Okay, so coming to OLTP. What is OLTP? OLTP is nothing but online transaction. And what is OLAP? OLAP stands for online analytic. So OLTP and OLAP. So the names are also self-explanatory here, but let me explain what is. So for that to understand, let me open a whiteboard. You are able to see my screen, right? Whiteboard. Hello. Hello. Hello.